Hey everybody! Today we're diving deep into one of the most misunderstood yet fascinating cryptocurrencies currently circulating in the market. There's a lot of noise out there, but beneath the surface, something significant is brewing, something most investors have completely overlooked. So let's break it down in a way that not only makes sense, but may also open your eyes to one of the most surprising setups in the crypto space right now. This video is for educational purposes only. It is not financial advice. Always do your own research before investing in crypto. Let me start with something wild. Imagine a cryptocurrency that has crashed more than 70% from its peak, yet still manages to land among the most bullish tokens according to market sentiment. It sounds contradictory, almost impossible, right? But it's happening, and the craziest part is what this actually implies. If you care about long-term plays or spotting early opportunities before the crowd catches on, this is something you need to hear. Because the kind of window we're looking at doesn't stay open forever. Now, the project at the center of all this discussion is Kaspa. And before you write it off as just another Layer 1 project, trust me, Kaspa does not belong in the same category as most of the generic blockchain pitches you've heard. Kaspa currently sits at roughly a $1.3 billion market cap, which, in the world of crypto, puts it in an interesting position. Not too small to be ignored, but not too large to be fully priced in. What makes Kaspa intriguing is how its technology takes the fundamental philosophy of Bitcoin, the decentralization, the simplicity, the uncompromised security, and modernizes it for 2025 and beyond. Kaspa is basically what you would get if Bitcoin was redesigned to operate at lightning speed. This isn't marketing talk. Among proof-of-work chains, it's considered the fastest out there. And unlike many speed-focused networks that sacrifice decentralization or security, Kaspa manages to balance all three pillars of blockchain design. That alone has attracted comparisons between early Bitcoin and early Kaspa. And honestly, when you look at how the protocol is structured, the comparisons aren't ridiculous. The DNA matches Bitcoin's ethos, but the execution is built for today's user expectations and tomorrow's scaling needs. But here's something even crazier that has been quietly taking shape. An encrypted messaging protocol called Kasia, which is built on Kaspa's infrastructure, has experienced explosive growth since early November. And when I say explosive, I mean the kind of growth that completely reshapes the data landscape around a project. Nearly 95% of all Kasia transactions recorded to date happened in November alone. That's over 200,000 transactions in a single month, an insane spike by any metric. A respected crypto analyst recently suggested that Kasia might become one of the most censorship-resistant messaging systems ever developed. And if that turns out to be true, the implications are massive. It would mean that Kaspa isn't just building a decentralized financial layer, it's building a foundation for communication tools, privacy tools, and application layers far beyond simple money transfers. It proves that Kaspa's infrastructure doesn't stop at payments. It extends into entirely different sectors where security and performance matter. If that wasn't enough, transparency around Kaspa just reached another level. The entire emission schedule is now integrated into platforms like DeFi Llama, allowing anyone to track circulating supply and unlock events in real time. There's no more guesswork, no just trust us, no hidden emissions. Everything is open, traceable, and verifiable. This level of clarity is usually something only top-tier projects implement, which is why, even during price drops, it strengthens investor confidence. But speaking of price, let's address the obvious problem. Kaspa's ranking has slipped to around rank 60, its lowest point since 2023. And if you only looked at price, you'd assume the project is dying. But that assumption is false. Community sentiment remains extremely optimistic, development continues steadily, network upgrades haven't slowed, and activity around the ecosystem is growing. So what's causing the price struggle? The explanation is actually simple when you zoom out. Between October 2022 and July 2024, Kaspa pumped nearly 10,000%. Yes, you heard that correctly. The price multiplied by 100 in less than 2 years. Any asset that rises that much, that fast, needs a cool-down period. The market has to breathe, reset expectations, and reestablish a support structure. The 70% drop isn't a death sentence, it's a recalibration after a massive rally. And here's the encouraging part. Multiple independent trackers confirm that during this cooling period, Kaspa's development activity has not slowed down even a little. Builders kept building, and history shows that the projects that stay active during bearish phases are usually the ones that explode once the market shifts back into a bullish environment. However, one major bottleneck continues to hold Kaspa back: exchange accessibility. Yes, Kaspa is available on Binance Futures and it's present on some mid-level exchanges, but it still lacks crucial spot listings, especially on giants like Binance and Coinbase. This limits liquidity, it limits visibility, and it significantly restricts new retail investors who only trust top-tier platforms. But here's where things get very interesting. Binance's interactions with Kaspa continue to increase. The founder recently appeared in a list of the top 100 blockchain innovators, and Binance has already engaged with the project through futures products. That suggests groundwork is quietly being laid. When a spot listing eventually arrives, and it will, it could unleash a wave of liquidity the project has never seen before. Meanwhile, macro forces haven't helped. Bitcoin dominance has been intense since mid-2024, draining liquidity from altcoins. Capital has been flowing into big narratives like AI, real-world assets, and restaking. So, even fundamentally strong projects like Kaspa have been dragged down by broader cycle trends. But historically, these are the exact conditions under which long-term value plays emerge. Undervaluation during these phases creates some of the best entry points for people who aren't focused solely on short-term charts. To add another surprising twist, major institutional investors such as BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street all hold shares in Marathon Digital, MARA. And Marathon actively mines Kaspa. That means these institutions already have indirect exposure to Kaspa, even if many retail traders don't realize it yet. They're positioning early, quietly, while the general public remains distracted by other narratives. When you combine chart structure with on-chain development, ecosystem growth, institutional positioning, and narrative potential, the case for Kaspa becomes much clearer. Many analysts believe Kaspa could reach the $4 to $5 range in the next major cycle, not based on hype, but based on the actual fundamentals, growing real-world use cases, and the large-scale exchange listings that will inevitably bring fresh liquidity. Kaspa doesn't chase every trend. It doesn't try to be everything at once. Instead, it focuses on doing a few things extremely well: delivering Bitcoin-level security, offering unmatched transaction speed in the proof-of-work category, and supporting functional applications like Kasia that prove how versatile its base layer truly is. And in the long run, the market tends to reward projects that maintain this kind of clarity and discipline. Kaspa may look like a struggling altcoin on the surface, but once you understand the fundamentals, the development progress, the ecosystem growth, and the institutional breadcrumbs, it becomes clear that the story is much bigger than the current price action. This is a high-potential project experiencing a necessary correction after massive growth, not a collapse. And with more adoption, more use cases, and future major exchange listings on the horizon, the next major move could surprise a lot of people. Thanks for watching. Like the video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and hit subscribe if you want more real-time updates, moves, market trends, and hidden gems.